What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the top 5 best drop locations in Call of Duty Warzone. There are a lot of different places to drop on this map, being it such a gigantic map. But in order to get the best loot right off the bat, get your loadout drop right off the bat, especially with the solo stimulus if you are a solo player, or even if you're rolling with a team, these areas will have the most loot for you and your friends. So if you want to stick around to the end of the video to check out the #1 spot, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't have expected it. But without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So coming in at number 5, we actually have the Quarry, and I'm not talking right in the middle of the Quarry. There are a few houses and a little village just outside of the Quarry that if you land there, it will give you the opportunity to get looted up at least a little bit to where you can get a gun. If someone drops in on you, you'll be able to get the drop on them because they'll still have their pistol out and you won't have to worry about being, in a return fire. There are a few legendary chests that do spawn in this one house pretty consistently, so I would check there first. It is the yellow house just outside of the little gas station. Land there, grab your loot, and then you can push into the Quarry, see if there's any enemies out there that you need to fight, or even if you need to just re-up your ammo or anything like that. There is a bunch of stuff in there. It provides loads of cover. There are buildings everywhere that you can just sit inside, camp out for a little bit. If you got a heartbeat sensor, pull that out. Make sure nobody's coming in on you, make sure that nobody is dropping in above you or below you, and you'll be able to get the kill. Now I do want to talk about this next area just a little bit more in depth. It is one of the larger areas on the map. It is in between TV station and the airport. There is a lot of cover here, so you will be fine. There are buildings literally sprawled out throughout the entire zone. Like I said, it is one of the larger zones and the landmark is very large, so if you look just outside of the airport, you should be right there. Seclusion ranks pretty low because it's kind of dead smack in the middle of the map. It's not one of those places where if the line's outside, you can go over and fly far away and be pretty much good in terms of people that are around you. The verticality is pretty great. There's a couple of tall buildings. It's not too tall, but there will be a couple of tall buildings to give you that sniper position. If you can land your AX-50 shots, your HDR shots, just line up sights and you should be good to go. The interior locations are all perfect for this zone. Perfect. The hangars 5 and 6 provide a lot of cover if you want to land in between there and the garages that are behind it. There are 2 chests that spawn in the 2 open garages. You can usually find a lot of armor plates and different various weapons in those 2 hangars. There is good loot there, so you would have a higher chance at your legendary chests or even your blue chests, or even finding ammo around the map or around the area, or finding armor plates. The complexity of the map isn't very high. It's just kind of like, you land and you have a choice to make. You either run into a building or try to grab the loot that's out in the open. If you grab, there is a chance that you can grab good loot out in the open, but I would recommend hiding in one of these hangars. Grab a heartbeat sensor if you can get your loadout drop, and usually there is a lot of cash in these areas as well, so you'll be able to get your stuff a lot quicker. And this also gives you the option to either go to TV station like I mentioned before, you can go Superstore, you can go to the actual airport itself, or you could rotate down further into the map just to get better verticality, because there is a mountain behind you. Stadium is right there close by as well. If you want to get on top of that building, there's a cell phone tower in that area as well, and you should be good to go as far as finding all of the things that you need to make sure that you can confirm that win. Next up on our list, we're going to have to talk about downtown. It's kind of a hot button issue with a lot of people that I know personally, at least. There are quite a few buildings here. There is a ton of buildings here. Little crevices for people to camp. There are little crevices for people to sit inside with RPGs. Tall buildings everywhere. Loads and loads of loot. The size of this landmark isn't as big as some of the other ones, but it is worth mentioning. The landmark itself is marked on the map. When you drop in, you'll be able to see it. Accessibility is, you can get to this point on the map from anywhere else on the map. There are 3 main bridges on the western side of the map. There's 1 bridge on the eastern side of the map that leads into the foothills, and the verticality is, like I said, there are like 5 or 6 really tall buildings in that area. The loot isn't really that great because it is such a hot drop, But if you can manage to play your corners right and grab your kills as you see them, you will definitely be able to get in and get out, get to where you need to be. Hopefully the zone isn't too far away from you if you land here, and you'll be able to get over to the stadium district, or you can even go further up the road there and get into the TV station, or even one of the other areas that we have marked on this list here for you. I would recommend dropping here if you are experienced with close quarter combat. So if you're running, say, an AR and a shotgun, I would recommend that. The M4A1 is great at corner camping. Also, not necessarily corner camping, but getting a kill on an enemy who is coming at you from around the corner. It's great for that. Drop shots are perfect for this location if you're one of those guys. And if you want to just stand up top on a building, there is a circular building there in the middle. You can just sit up on top with a sniper, plant a claymore at the doorway so that nobody comes up on you. It's great. It's definitely a great spot to land. I like it. I usually land on the northernmost side. Sometimes I land on the southeast side in the square apartment buildings, but I don't really care for that area too much, only because from what I've noticed, there are only a few chests that spawn there. There's not much loot on the ground around the area, and usually it's just like a Uzi or an MP7 of some sort, or even just like a base M4A1. It's the loot just isn't that great in this area. But if you go dead smack in the middle, there usually are a couple legendary chests or something like that you can get to. It's not very secluded because, like I said, it is dead smack in the middle of the map, so you will have trouble with a bunch of people landing on you. But like I said, if you can play your corners right, you should be all set. And I've seen people manage to get 5-man kills just from landing in this, from picking up a gun off the ground, going in, killing 5 people, and I've seen crazy plays in this area. So keep this one in mind, and let's move on to number 2. So coming in at number 2, we definitely have the king of all kings when it comes to drop locations in Battle Royale games, and that is going to be the Superstore. There is a lot to be said about this area. It's where dreams go to die, if I'm being 100% honest with you. It is where you land if you immediately want to die. There is always a buy station immediately outside of that area, and there is also really good loot inside of that area. It's hard to get to. Well, it's not necessarily hard to get to, it's just a pain in the ass to get to if you want any type of advantage over your enemies. There are a few tall buildings around that area. There's a couple of little towers. There are some apartment buildings. There's a bunch of loot in that general area because it is right next to Storage Town, which is also another great area for loot. And it's right next to that airport maintenance, Torsk Block, which is also another hot drop, and the Boneyard, which is another hot drop. So it's kind of surrounded by areas that have insanely good loot, so it acts as a central point for people to land, grab something, and get out to another area that has better loot. I don't really care for landing here ever, honestly. I never do. I'm close enough at the airport that if I need to push in that direction, I can, but normally I'm going the opposite way, or I'll shoot up a little bit further north to get to the hills to get a little bit of verticality. But don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that this is a bad drop at all. It made it on this top 5 list. This is a really good drop because of where it is on the map. It's central, but more western. It's, like I said, surrounded by areas that all have great loot. So if you want to have a breather when you land initially, hide in the gas station that's across the street. Hide next to the buy station and wait for people to come by and pick them off. Hide on the roof, for crying out loud. If you want to just sit up there, wait for people to walk across the parking lot and pick them off as you see them, by all means do that, because that will give you the advantage to make less people between you and those areas that have great loot. It's a great drop. I don't drop there ever, but I know a lot of people do. And if you ever, like I said, just want to get to areas that have great loot, but you don't want to jump straight into the fight, then this is a great place to land. So coming in at the top spot on this list is going to be Block 6. Now, I know that a lot of people probably don't know what Block 6 is. It is just south of the TV station. It is the little area with the big blue building. There's 2 tall apartment buildings, the pharmacy, and there's a small cluster of houses and garages just to the east of that as well. It's in between downtown and the stadium. Now, this is a really good drop because those buildings, for whatever reason, seem to have the best loot in this, area of the map. There's 5 or 6 houses just south of the TV station that you can loot up, then make your way northwest a little bit to where that tall blue building is, and then into the apartment buildings. And it like I said, it provides great loot for you to be able to kill your enemies if there are any that land there. And it's not even that a lot of people land here all the time. You might get 1, 2, or 3 people per match. I mean, sometimes it even shoots up to maybe you get a bunch of people on you, but even if so, the loot here is very well optimized. There are 2 buy stations, one up top, one on bottom, and then there is a short road that takes you from the Block 6 area up into the military base and into the quarry where those hills are, so you can get a little bit of verticality if you do end up managing to grab a sniper out of one of the boxes or anything like that, a marksman rifle with a thermal sight, anything that you can use to kill your enemies from a longer range. And what I like most about this area is that if you need cover, just run up and hide up against the stadium. I mean, there's a bunch of loot down there, and normally people don't go in and grab that loot right away. They usually take their time to get up into the fire station that's on the corner there. They usually try to get up into one of the taller buildings and stay on top, so you can just loot the bottom floor, keep it pushing. You can also go across the Great Bridge into the airport area and where Superstore is, or if you're feeling really, really good about yourself, you can just go down south a little bit into the downtown district. There's a couple of houses right on the edge of Block 6 and downtown that are a good strategic position for you to be in for the match. And if the zone is just right, like if that zone is just hitting something different, you can literally stay in the exact same spot the entire game and just let people come to you. Pull out a heartbeat sensor, wait for them to get in within 20 meters, lay down on the ground, boom, 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 they're dead. And I'll have an M4 video coming up on this loadout that I came up with that is absolutely god tier. It's nuts how good that is. So stay tuned on the channel to check that out. If you did like the video, please leave a thumbs up. If you disliked it, leave a thumbs down. It lets me know how I'm doing in this whole content creation space, especially with making Warzone videos in such a saturated area where some of the top guys, doing their thing. This is the top 5 list for the top 5 drop zones in Call of Duty Warzone. Like I said, if you liked it, let me know. Let me know what you think about these drop locations. Are they good? Did you have success? Did you grab a win dropping at one of these locations? If you did, let me know down in the comments below. Check me out on Twitch. I stream there 5 days a week. Sometimes twice a day during those 5 days over on twitch.tv/mojoey. Go check me out over there. I'll be streaming tonight, so come hang out. Anyway, have a good one.